Hello you guys, my name is Benji and today we are putting together my bookshelf Moss Terrarium. Recently I added this aquarium here and I now want to add a terrarium in my bookshelf. So there was this empty spot and I have this old aquarium that I put on here and it fits really well. I think it would just be really cool to add a terrarium element into the bookshelf. That way it kind of looks like a portal to another world. I'm also going to make it very simple and hopefully resemble rolling hills. So I am basing this design off of this Instagram account that I follow. He does a lot of really cool mosscapes. So yeah, full credit to them for the idea. The terrarium is super reflective right now because it's the middle of the day and there's nothing in it right now, but I think once I add stuff, it'll be less reflective and it'll look pretty cool there. The terrarium is gonna be not that difficult to access, so I would just have to remove all the books that are up here. These are all of my Wheel of Time books. I really like epic fantasy novels. And now I can just lift up this shelf and access the terrarium. So this is the grow light I'm using. I'll link it down below. It's called like a misto light. It's small and not too bulky, so it can hide pretty well inside of the shelf. It also has different light temperatures it can be. It can be really cool like this, or it could be warm or like an in-between. This aquarium didn't come with a lid, so I custom ordered one off Etsy and it wasn't that expensive. Let's start putting the terrarium together. So my inspiration for this terrarium I'm making is, can you guys see it? Here is my inspiration for the terrarium. It's quite simple. They're just like hills of greenery, but in this case it's gonna be moss. The method that this guy uses, from what I can gather, is pretty simple. He said in the comments that he uses potting soil, and then for his moss he uses this moss that is called pearl moss. So that's the common name. I'll put the Latin name on the screen. I'm gonna do my best to try and create something similar. And I'm gonna try and get as high as I can, or at least cover up a lot of the back. That way you can't see through the terrarium when you're viewing it. I'm gonna do a little bit of my own methods just because that's what I'm comfortable with. For my terrariums, I always like to do a base of something. So it can be like lava rock or pumice or charcoal in this instance. I'm gonna use charcoal as the base layer. This charcoal is from Repot Me. And a lot of the materials that I use for my terrariums come from Repot Me. So I'm gonna rinse this and then just add a base layer of this at the bottom. Because the charcoal is a little bit dusty when you first open it, so that's why I'm rinsing it off. It's like we're cooking. I love the sound that charcoal makes when you first water it. So like, my mic is right here, so that's why I'm putting it near my chest. But do you guys hear that? It's like the water filling in the air pockets. So I'm just gonna pour this on the bottom of my terrarium. I'm going to slope it backwards, that way there's some height to the terrarium. So in order to make like the hills, I don't want to just use potting soil and create like a big mound of potting soil. So I'm gonna use rocks. I have a box of rocks for some reason, and I'm gonna use these rocks to create a mound. So I'll put the rocks down and then I'll put soil over it to create like a mound of soil without just having the internal structure all being soil. I think I want the right side to be taller, but how much taller? All of this will be covered with soil, so you won't really be able to see any of it. I think this is a decent start. It's gonna be completely covered with soil, so it's not gonna look like this. And then I can also mold the soil to create shapes that I want, or create extra little hills or something. I wanna make sure that this terrarium has a sense of depth and shadow. I'm gonna do my best to remember that while molding the soil. Before we do that, let's take a quick break to talk about the sponsor of this video, CASETiFY. CASETiFY is the most popular tech accessory brand in the world. They're known for their protective cases and global collaborations. I've never dropped my phone on purpose before. They sent me two different kind of cases, a clear case and a bounce case. Here's my bounce case. It has 21-foot drop protection powered by EcoShock technology. There are a ton of customization options for the bounce case, and you can choose from over 2,000 designs. So there's a case out there for everyone. If you're looking for something more sleek and minimal, the clear case is probably for you. I had the option to, so I customized mine to have my name on it. You can show off your device's color while still giving it the protection it needs. Even though this case isn't too bulky, it offers 6.6-foot drop protection. Also, unlike other clear cases that get that yellow tinge over time, CASETiFY uses UV Defender technology to prevent yellowing. CASETiFY also has a program where they partner globally with a diverse range of artists. I really like Jogaman Studios designs. There's this one with a dinosaur holding a wiener dog, and then another with a dinosaur waving that I really like, and it's just super cute. So make sure to go to casetify.com/BenjiPlant for 15% off your next order. Okay, now let's pour some dirt in this terrarium. So I don't want to use potting soil because I always have issues with potting soil in terrarium settings because I always end up getting mold. So I'm going to use this. It is called Reptese Soil by the brand Zoomad. This is used for like bioactive terrariums and for like frogs and reptiles and stuff. So I think this would probably work pretty well for a terrarium. Also, look at Theo right now. What are you doing? He's thinking about something. Oh. So this soil sometimes can't absorb water easily, so I don't want to put it in the terrarium and then try and water it. I'm gonna water it while it's in this bowl first. Watch, it's very resistant to accepting water. It just kind of pools on top of the soil and doesn't really get absorbed. Do you see that? I have to like mix it in. I'm just gonna start putting in the soil. Do the front first. So yeah, right here I'm gonna cover up the rock with the soil, kind of like hide it and have it create a little hill. When the soil is wet, it's a lot easier to mold around the rocks. I'm going to do a little bit of redecorating in here and change where the slopes are. I want to create a focal point, so I am making this small mound right here. So there's a little mountain, so your eye will be drawn up to here. And because this is the new focal point, I need to make sure that these corners are taller than it. That way there's a differentiation in height. I think it's going pretty well. My hand is covered with soil. I am liking how it's coming along. Also, sorry, it's kind of hard for you guys to see because the glass is reflective. This is why sometimes I'm like not sure if I want to film aquarium videos and stuff, because I haven't figured out what to do about the reflective glass. It just makes it really difficult to film things. I'm going to do some final touches and make sure everything is how I like it, and then clean the glass and then start putting on the moss. Here in this bowl is all of the moss that I'm going to use. So I definitely don't have enough moss for how much surface area I have to cover, but that'll be okay because it'll grow over time eventually. This is pearl moss. I bought it as an aquatic moss, but it can also grow out of the water as well as underwater. My plan is to chop this moss up into smaller pieces and then just press it onto the soil and hopefully it grows. Yeah, this is the moss that my inspiration uses, and he uses this for a lot of his terrariums. And he says it grows really fast and spreads quickly. So in order to cut the moss up into smaller pieces, I'm going to use this knife. I think this is a fillet knife. The reason why I cut it is because when you cut moss up, it'll shoot off like new growth points that weren't there before. So it kind of makes each little moss piece that you cut off its own plant. Here is the moss all ready to go, chopped up into small bits. I'm gonna lay down the moss and try and spread it around as best as possible That way it grows evenly and fills in all of the areas. I'm trying not to press down too hard because you can kill moss by squishing it, but I do want it to be able to stick onto the soil. Okay, I think this is gonna take me a long time. After about 30 minutes of putting little tiny pieces of moss on the soil, my back hurts now, but I'm pretty much done. Now I just need to add my springtails. If you don't know what springtails are like these little tiny white bugs that eat mold and decaying matter inside of terrariums. So I have this container of springtails. I bought this on eBay for about $10. So yeah, I'm just gonna add them in and hopefully they will keep any mold that grows at bay. I kind of forgot that I needed to add the springtails, and it's really difficult to add them without also adding their soil. So I'm gonna dig a little piece of the soil out from the terrarium and then add the springtails in the little hole. Opening up the springtails. I wonder if you guys can see them. They kind of jump around a little bit, but should I just dump them? Sure.
Oh, I see them.
Can you see them on the camera?
I don't know. Maybe. Oh yeah, you can see them.
Yes, my little janitors. I'm just gonna clean up the terrarium again, wipe all this off, and then put it on the bookshelf. So it doesn't look amazing right now, but once all this moss grows out and stuff, it's gonna look very, very cool. So it's not that heavy. Oh yeah, not that heavy at all. So now I'm putting on the lid. So the lid doesn't fully cover it. There's a small gap about an inch or an inch and a half to allow for some air exchange. And I found that that also helps prevent molding in my terrariums. Plug in the light. Oh, looks pretty cool. Hopefully, hopefully there's enough light. I might need to end up getting 2 lights, so that way there's one on this side and then one on the other side. Now time to put the rest of the stuff on. Oh, also I forgot, I didn't mention how it's being plugged in. At the bottom of the bookshelf, my dad cut out this little hole. That way we have access to the outlet. Here is the terrarium. Let me know what you guys think. I am definitely excited to see how it grows in. I'll keep you guys updated. So yeah, it doesn't look like much now, but I think within a month or 2 months, it's gonna look really cool. I'll make sure to include some clips of this at night. That way you can kind of see it better. It'll be really cool at night because this area is pretty dark. So having a light on the bookshelf and then having it illuminate this terrarium is gonna look super cool. Finally got this done. I know I've been saying I wanted to make the terrarium for a while, and then in the back of all my videos, it's just empty, and a few of you guys pointed that out. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.